Hi guys, Miss Rodriguez here. How you doing? We are going to start Unit 8. So hopefully you were able to download or upload this packet, or at least the first couple pages. I separated them out into pages too if that's easier, so that you can follow along with me on the video and copy it down on your own. So you can copy it on your Notability, or if you're able to print it out, even better. And you can write this down on paper. Okay, so this unit, we are talking all about area. Okay, and there's just a ton of formulas for area. So that's what we're doing here, is I'm going to explain all the area formulas today. And then I'm going to go through, and each day you're going to practice a different shape. So as you can see here, there's rectangle, square, triangle, parallelogram, rhombus, trapezoid, circles. So all these different shapes have a different formula. So you're going to each day practice some different shapes, and then at the end we'll give you a test on all of them. Really, you just need to know the formula and then know how to use it in a problem. And that's it. So this isn't a really hard chapter, but I want to make sure we can do this. And we've done some of this before. We have done the area of a rectangle before, we've done square, and we've done triangle. So those you should remember from earlier in the year, but the other ones are going to be new. Let's start with the easy ones today. So we're going to start with area of a rectangle. Our formula for area of a rectangle is just length times width. And so the abbreviated format is A equals L times W. So that's what you want to memorize for area of a rectangle. So anytime you have a rectangle, you just multiply the length times the width, and you're done. So pretty simple, right? Okay, let's go on to the next one. How about a square? Well, guess what? It's exactly the same. The only difference is that here, your length and your width are going to be the same number, but the formula is still exactly the same. So you're still just doing length times width. So whatever, if you look at your picture, the length is, you multiply it by the width, just like you did for the rectangle. We're just multiplying. So those are pretty basic. All right, the triangle. If you remember from when we did the triangle last time, the area of your triangle is always base times height, so just like you did length times width before, but then you can't forget that you have to take that whole thing and divide it by 2. So the area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. And that is our formula for the area of a triangle. So in this picture, you would take the base, you would multiply it by the height, but then don't forget to divide by 2 for every single triangle. Okay, now these next ones are new shapes that you haven't seen before. So the first one is called a parallelogram. That's a really hard word to say, parallelogram. And all that a parallelogram is it has parallel sides. So notice this side is parallel to that side, and here this side is parallel to that side. It just kind of looks like a rectangle that is leaning on its side, right? So that's a parallelogram. The formula is very simple. It's very similar to the rectangle, and it's just going to be base times height, just like the rectangle was. Length times width, base times height, it's the same idea. So our area formula here is just base times height. No dividing by 2, okay? Just base times height, exactly as is. Nothing to divide, just multiply, and you are done, okay? So you would look at your picture, and you would take this base here, and you would multiply it by the height, and that's it. All right. This next shape is called a rhombus. And a rhombus is kind of like a diamond. Okay? Or it's like a square that's kind of on its side. So it has a special formula. What you're going to do for the rhombus is you're going to take the first, what's called the first diagonal. And all that a diagonal is it's across the shape from one corner to the other one. So I'm going to call that diagonal 1, and you're going to multiply it by the other diagonal, diagonal 2. So that's the other diagonal across. And then just like you did with the triangle, you're going to divide by 2. So our area formula is D1 times D2 divided by 2. And there is the area for a rhombus or a diamond. Okay, so you multiply all the way across, whatever it is all the way across, times the other one, and then divide by 2. Okay, 3 more shapes to go. This next one is called a trapezoid. So here's what a trapezoid looks like. A trapezoid is a shape that has the top and the bottom bases parallel, but these other 2 sides are not parallel. Okay, those sides that are parallel are called the bases. So the way we're going to find the area of a trapezoid is you're going to take the height and multiply it by base 1 plus base 2. You're going to add the 2 bases, multiply it by the height, and then divide by 2. So our abbreviated formula looks like this. H times B1 plus B2 all divided by 2. There's the formula for a trapezoid. So you would take, in this case, in the picture, take this height here and multiply it by whatever the sum is of base 1 plus base 2. So you're going to add those 2 bases together, multiply it by the height, and then divide by 2. All right, last 2. These are both circles, okay, as you can see. And so for circles, we always talk about the radius. And the radius, as you can see, is only halfway across. If the thing went all the way across, that would be called the diameter, which is always going to be twice your radius. But these equations always use the radius. So to find the circumference, and the circumference is the distance around the outside. It's like the perimeter of a circle, okay? And the formula for that is C equals 2 times pi times r. So what's this symbol pi that you talk of, Ms. Rodriguez? Well, remember pi, you've seen it before. It's just the term that approximately equals 3.14, right, that we use for circles. It's actually an irrational number that keeps going. 3.14, blah, 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 that goes on forever and ever. But we're going to just round it to 3.14. And then the r is whatever number you had here, which is your radius. Okay, so that is our formula for the circumference of a circle. Now, for the circle, you can also find its area, right? So if I wanted to find its area, that's the space on the inside, right? Area is always the inside. So how much area does it cover on the inside? Our formula for the area is kind of similar, but a little different. It starts with pi again. That's, remember, 3.14. And then you multiply it by r squared, or the radius squared. Right, so pi again is 3.14. R again is the radius, but you have to square it. And then here's my formula. Okay, so each day you're going to go through this packet and you're going to use the different formulas. So I think the first day I'm going to do rectangle and square. Then the next day you'll work on the triangle, then parallelogram and rhombus. Then you'll do a day for trapezoid and then a day for circles. And I'll get you started on each one and then you'll continue. So for today, actually,